when you're 20, you hate everybody and everything, and you just sort of, like Rosie earlier on, you stand at bus stops waiting. And one day I was stood there waiting, and you stood close by and talked. You'd think butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. Look at her, sauntering around as if she owned the place, acting as if she was Jesus' girlfriend and it was Judgment Day already. Those bitter hatchets tore from your pea green tracksuit with matching stilettos, your arms folded tight as your wrinkled flesh flapped lonely flags in the wind. Hatred twisted into a smile, hiding ulcers for a doorstep traveller bound by an ugly view of humanity. I saw a horrid laser show of malice and discontent shine from your eyes as I stood waiting to leave. And I left, and I came here to this country where there's a poetry scene, and sometimes we do sensible things, like we have poetry inside where there's alcohol and warmth and a complete lack of rain, and people enjoy themselves and they're there for the poetry, and you kind of have these special nights where it's like after the manic crash test car ride through performance poetry, where you emerge excited, whisper at passers-by, repeat a joke, shake a shoulder, find a field, a flat, a floor, make more of the night than you'd planned. Have a happy accident at a bus stop with a happy tramp who you give more than you can afford to. Drink tea that's just right. Or go to Canal Street and watch it in fire in twirling blues and reds with the poets who'd survived, to see a gin-soaked rent boy screaming from the middle of the canal locks at a policeman, a fireman, and a newly trained psychotherapist in a sea green boat. Depart that show, destroy the dust of a chicken burger, and chance your arm with the labby attacks at Vanilla with some lesbians with vodka on their mind. Or just stay at the pub and talk to a poet. Offer them a slot, get them a drink. Make them let you be their next best friend. Talk with someone's mum about pickled onion crisps. Meet semi-famous people who say how much they liked your stuff. And then that night, you know you saw someone take a chance. And no matter how much their hands resembled a manic metronome, the audience still clapped for their virginity. And it made you think, I can. And then you talk to another poet who kind of sort of says when the next one's on and tells you to keep coming back in a more of a poetic than AA type of way. And then there was that poet, dead good, I couldn't be that good kind of poet. And they're doing something new, holding tight foolscaps, see through with edit stains, and they're not so cocksure. And it makes you think, I can. Sometimes it takes you much further than £2 in a smoky back room should. Felt warm like Sunday lunch, naughty yet revolutionary, but not to have taken sides, to have taken part by sitting down, listening and clapping, and knowing at the end of it that something has happened and that you were a part of it just by being there. Sometimes it takes you much further than £2 in a smoky back room should. Now, that's all well and good when you don't have a long-term painful illness that makes you not go to poetry events anymore and makes you not want to write anymore and completely changes your life, and you suddenly realise that, like, I don't hate as much anymore and my poetry suffered. The embittered stoop-tied ladies, the fishhook backbent men don't disturb me as much. They're just suffering through breathing and bait for an end of realised might not matter. And any harboured notion in a storm's as good as another. It's all just thoughts in the end. I'm not right anymore, and my poetry suffered. Right and wrong live in the same circular line of washing uncertainty that I hang my smalls from. You know, where we show off our prettier things. I don't care as much anymore, and my poetry suffered. non-optimistic humanist postmodernism lectures and fibromyalgia will do that to you. It takes the purpose out of point and pedantic polemics, a passing trade, and words mean too much for too small dictionaries these days. I don't know as much anymore, and my poetry suffered. See you next year for my annual poetry reading. Goodbye.